What's up everyone, I'm Melissa Makak from Room 51 and this is Teach the Teach, where I teach you how to teach a board game, and in this video I'll be covering Chronicles of Crime. Now this is a how to teach video, meaning I'm assuming you already know how to play this game and now you're looking to teach it to other players. There are plenty of ways to teach games and this is just a way that's worked for me. If you have any sort of difficulties teaching games or this game in particular, maybe this could help you out. Now, as always, I always start off with the three main things. First, going into the story behind the game, then the objective, and then how this game ends. Now, with Chronicles of Crime, all three of those things are sort of intertwined together. And it's actually what I use to bring people into the game. Like, this is a case that we're solving together. That way they know what we're doing, right? We're solving a case together. That's the objective. And then letting them know that by the end of the game, you could decide when you want to solve the case, and that there's going to be a series of questions usually revolving around who done it, with what, why, and then maybe some other questions that we don't really know that they're going to ask just yet. That way they know what we're starting to do and why they're sort of doing it. Now you can always start off with the tutorial if you want, but if you don't want to play through the tutorial every time that you play with new players, you might want to skip that and go on to something else. And I just start off by showing them the app, saying like a lot of it is just QR codes. There's QR codes on all of these things, right? And that the app is going to guide us through the whole game. And I also let them know that this is an evolving game, that people that you saw on that bench 5 minutes ago might not be there tomorrow, you know? So this is a living, breathing world that we're going through, and the app really brings that about. This is also just to get them excited for the game. This game has some really cool features, so you want to amp that up, I think. Anyway, so from there, you just start setting it up as per the app's request, and it usually starts off with a crime scene and a person that is dead, right? And I've just drawn this dude at random because he was at the top of my deck, and I'll just say, okay, so this dude is dead, and usually you don't know where people start or like where they are. So when I say that if we don't know where the person is, that's when they go on this part of the board. However, if we know where they are, once the location comes out as the game is progressing, you can say, okay, now that we know where they are, we're going to place them right on the location. So you're kind of just teaching them as the game goes along. This is, again, to get people playing as quickly as possible. From there, as the game progresses, I like to have the whole screen on the laptop so that everybody could see, instead of just one person like looking at the scene of the crime and shouting out things. I like to have everybody look at it because I think that's even more immersive, but to each their own. Anyway, as that's going about, I say like, okay, so we're going to try to see certain things, and I'll let them know that these cards, we're going to look through these cards, and they're broken up into categories. So if we see things like a receipt, it might be something like paper that's in one of these cards. So we're going to take a mental note of everything. So we're going to go around, look at the scene, and then I'll say, all right, what were some of the things that we found? And people could start looking through these cards. And then from there, you could kind of just say, all right, from this point, you can cross-reference people and things. You can ask somebody about something that they saw, or something that you saw, rather. You can ask people about other people, and how all of this is done is through the QR code, and you're scanning codes. That's pretty much what I tell them. It's very straightforward. They kind of see you doing it. You might let them go ahead and try to do it if they really want to hold the phone. That's fine too. As the game progresses, you don't have to tell them about these, I guess, specialists right off the bat until, I would usually wait until they really come into play, if that makes sense. So usually you'll see the scene of the crime, and then you have these cards laid out, all your clues and everything, and maybe some people. And then when you kind of get to the point of like, all right, we've sort of exhausted some of our resources, and now in your head you're thinking like it's probably a good idea to actually ask some of these specialists for some help. That's when I bring them into play and I let them know, all right, we actually have these 4 little helpers here, and we could also cross-reference them by using their QR codes. And I'll just briefly tell them what each of them do. And I mean, listed right here. I'll just say, like, we have a scientist here who tells you about physical evidence. So we could ask her about some physical evidence. And then going into the doctor who specializes in autopsies and medical issues, right? And again, you're just kind of reading it off to them and letting them know that's what they specialize in. So we could ask them about any of these things according to what they specialize in, what we're trying to gather, what kind of information we're trying to gather. And that's essentially it. You could just kind of go on your merry way. The game itself sort of evolves for you to teach them. So I find that to be super helpful for this game. Anyway, that's it for this episode. Thank you so much for watching. You can follow me on social media if you'd like. And let me know some of the ways that you like to teach this game. I'd love to know. I'll catch you next time.